So, tomorrow morning I am waking up really early and driving home for fall break. And I'm very excited. This has been a very stressful, busy week of school, lots of midterms, and I haven't had any time to work on my more scripted videos, which is a shame because I'm really excited about them and I know they're going to be really cool when they come out. But I decided I should do another little reading list because it's fall, it's getting a little bit chilly, it's getting a little spooky outside, and I want to recommend some books that might be fun to read. This is going to be a bit more focused than my last reading list thing I did in the summer, just because summer reads can be like anything, but in the fall I love reading spooky kind of books. Not to say that that's the only stuff I read, but you know, it helps. This is actually ice water because it's really warm with these candles. First of all, obvious recommendation, Twilight. I actually just got this book from the library and I'm only like 50 pages in, so maybe I shouldn't be recommending it. But I also just watched all of the movies twice because they're free on YouTube right now. So I just watched all of them. Those movies rock. I'm sorry, like they're so good. And now I want to read the books because I was one of those like little twerps back in like 6th grade who like read Twilight in bad faith and acted like I hated it because Harry Potter better, which didn't age well, and also they're completely different books, like completely different genres, different audiences, so like why was anyone comparing them? Honestly, the biggest turning point for me was when ContraPoints released a video about Twilight. She's just incredible. Okay, next spooky book. The Picture of Dorian Gray. This is a classic. You probably know of it, at least. And it's the story of this guy who's very vain, and he gets a portrait painted of him, and he stays forever young, but the portrait gets more and more old and evil looking. And it's really cool. Very well written. Oscar Wilde has a great style, and it's like easy to read while also being very poetic and very beautiful. Next up, The Secret History. This book is kind of like Lord of the Flies, but set in a quaint Vermont town. It's very, very cozy, also scary. I think I read it a little bit too early in the semester. I started it like a month ago and I finished it like before October even started. And I loved it, but I would love to read it again like in the winter because it gets very chilly, you know? It's about 500 pages. It looks really small, but that's just because the font is tiny and the pages are really thin. It's a pretty big read, but I loved it. I thought it was so good. Just like evil college kids murdering people. It's very, and that's not a spoiler. Like, that happens in the first page. I'm not spoiling it. No spoilers for any of these books. But yeah, recommend. I'm pretty sure I recommended this in my summer reads thing too, but I can't remember. I haven't watched that video since. But read this book. It's so good. It's so spooky. I want to read it again. It is about a food writer who kills and eats her romantic partners. Also not a spoiler, it says it on the back. It's so good. I devoured this book, pun intended, and just, it's so good. It's so much fun to read. It's exhilarating. You're rooting for her even though she's evil. It's so fun. It's like a blast of a book. I love it. Love a good female serial killer. Like, yes, diversity. Okay, next up is The Doll Factory. I picked this book up in an airport when I was flying to Greece with my family, and I did not expect anything from it. I think it's a YA novel technically, because like, look how big that font is. And I've never heard anyone else talk about it before, but it's a story of a girl named Iris, I think. Yeah, Iris, who falls in love with a painter. There's a lot of musings on like the process of making art and stuff, which I think is really cool. And the other part of it is that there's this guy that she runs into like very briefly and doesn't really think much of the interaction, but he becomes like fixated on her and obsessed with her and plans to kidnap her. So it's both this like beautiful kind of love story with this painter and also this very scary suspense thing. But I love it. It doesn't get too scary. It's very entertaining to read, and I highly recommend it. Underrated book. Where's my... I think I left the rest at home. 1 second. Oh, hi. Sorry about that. I had to go do an errand. I hope that this is dark in like a vibey way and not in the like it's poorly lit way. I think it looks cool. So yeah, I had to go grab some books from home. Sorry it took me so long, but I'm ready now. This is actually tea this time. It's like sleepy time tea, so if I pass out, that's why. Dante's Inferno. This is the Divine Comedy. It's a very old version, but it's the Divine Comedy. I really need to read the whole thing because I read Inferno and I thought it was great. And I really want to read Purgatorio and Paradiso. And this is a beautiful version. Really cool stuff. But yeah, Dante's Inferno. It's a guy's journey through hell, basically. And you'll learn a lot about like medieval history and possibly Christianity, kind of a little bit. It's vague, but it's really great. And if you like Over the Garden Wall, it's probably based on Dante's Inferno. So, Wilder Girls. This was a book I read, I think in like 8th grade. This has a shocking amount of like middle, like YA novels, this list does. I don't know why, but this book, I read in 8th grade and it was spooky as heck. Basically, it's about this like all girls like prep school that is on this small island that gets infected with this weird disease where like the cover is not just a cool looking cover, it's kind of a representation of what starts happening, where flowers start growing from people. They all have these weird deformities. And it's kind of Lord of the Flies for girls, which I like. I've had this version for like years and it looks really good still, which is impressive. Okay, next, The Bell Jar. This isn't scary in the way that these ones are. Like, there's nothing supernatural happening. It's just, you know? This is a great cautionary tale. You're a young woman and you're worried about what your purpose in life is. Either don't read this book or do read this book. I'm not actually sure, because I read it at a time when I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to college, and I decided that I should, because reading this book, I was like, if I don't do something, I'm gonna go insane and they're gonna lobotomize me. So I'm glad I read it. Great book, and it does kind of put you in a spooky mood. Okay, next is this book, Sorrowland, that, again, I read a while ago. I don't know how I got this book, because it's a hardcover, which makes me feel like I didn't buy it myself, because I don't usually do that, but maybe I did. And it's about this woman who basically escapes like a religious compound that she lives on because she's pregnant, and then she has twins, and like she is kind of like turning, it's like body horror, kind of in the same way that Wilder Girls is. Actually, they're kind of similar in a lot of ways. So she has some weird stuff going on with herself. Her children are weird in different ways, and there's also this backbone of like religious trauma. A lot of musings on racism. It was a very like interesting introduction to that kind of text in books for me, because I don't know anything. It was one of the first books that I read where I was like, oh wow, like this is deeper than just bad individuals, like this is systemic, which was like the very first time I'd ever read anything that made me understand that, which is like the power of fiction. Yeah, it's a very spooky book about a lot of real topics, and it's also just beautifully written in the way a lot of spooky books are, where they use cool words. It's very gothic. Okay, now we're on to the not spooky stuff. This is a pretty small section. First, I want to recommend Ella Minnow P by Mark Dunn. Ella Minnow P. This is a book about a girl named Ella Minnow P who lives on like a fictional town called Nollop. It's named after the guy who invented the phrase, the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, which is like the phrase that has every single letter of the alphabet in it. And they have a sign commemorating this guy that has that phrase under it. And then one day the Z from the thing falls off. And so like the council who runs this place decides, okay, no one's allowed to use the letter Z anymore. And then another letter falls, and another one, and another one. And so they're continually getting things outlawed. And people are fleeing the town, people are getting punished for using letters they're not supposed to. And this is all conveyed through letters from different people in the town. It is a really, really, really well-written book, to the point where you would not believe how long they go without using certain letters, where you don't even notice. And it also kind of speaks to the way you have to fight against totalitarianism. It kind of reminds me of like The Trial by Franz Kafka, in that there's this kind of omnipotent power that doesn't really make any sense, but that you have to go along with anyways. And it's very, very beautifully told. It's a blast to read. It'll leave you with a lot of fun new words to use. And yeah, I highly recommend it. It's not very fall-esque, but it just makes me feel very academic when I read it, while also not being hard to read. And I think it should be more popular. It's kind of underrated. So yeah, highly recommend. It's a quick read. I read it on a plane, like just nonstop throughout the whole plane ride because it was so engaging. The Overstory by Richard Powers. This is a book about trees and how great they are. You know that Idina Menzel tree musical? That's what they were going for. They were trying to be this book. Living in the leaves. This follows like 10 different people probably, all of whom some way or another get interested in environmentalism and trees. And their stories kind of intersect at some point. It's a beautiful story about love and death and why nature is so important. It will make you want to go out and hug a tree, I swear. And it also is very like climate aware. I've read one other book by this guy, Bewilderment, which I talked about in the video where I talk about Star Wars. He's a great writer. He's able to weave in important like political things without it feeling like the book is yelling at you, which is a lot harder. Like, I can't even imagine trying to do that. Whenever I like tentatively bring up politics in any of my videos, which I try to avoid, I always feel like I'm being so annoying. And so to be able to write it in fiction without it feeling obnoxious is incredibly impressive. And the cover is pretty. So, okay, last two books. We have The Idiot by Elif Batuman and Either Or by her also. This is part of a series. It's a series of books set in the 90s, and it follows a girl named Celine. Celine is a student at Harvard. Yes, Harvard. Studying Russian and literature and a bunch of different things. And she falls in love for the first time with this guy named Ivan. And it's just this like very, very honest telling of falling in love for the first time, of learning things about yourself, of learning things about the world, about language, about art. It's incredible. It's very autobiographical. I read Elif Batuman's nonfiction collection of essays, which is about her studying Russian, and that confirmed like how much this is based in her life. Either Or focuses more on relationships, like multiple relationships and intimacy and all this kind of stuff. And I love the way the narrator kind of speaks about things. It's set in the 90s, so great 90s nostalgia. Not that I know anything about that, but they talk about Fiona Apple and the Fugees and email being a thing for the first time. That's another big theme, is like technology evolving and stuff. But it's a great book. Okay, I hope you enjoyed my reading list. I know it was a bit disjointed, but these are all books that I recommend, except for maybe Twilight. I don't know if I can, like, in good faith recommend that book, but I don't know. It's worth reading, at least as a thought experiment. I will be back soon with a scripted thing. I know I'm always saying that, and I always mean it, but this time I'm really gonna get it done. I've just been so incredibly busy, like you would not believe it. But yeah, I'll talk to you later. Let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions. I would love to hear about it. I really want to read like some Anne Rice novels, because I've never really delved into her before, and I'm really into vampires right now. I just did like a whole presentation for my friends about how much I love vampires. So let me know if you have any suggestions, and I will see you soon. Bye.